The little girl counted the money 3 times, and it still wasn't enough. Her small fingers trembled as she spread the crumpled bills and coins across the glass counter, her eyes fixed on them like they might magically turn into more if she stared hard enough. The bakery smelled warm, fresh bread, sugar, vanilla, but for her, it felt suffocating. $5, the cashier said flatly, barely looking at her. Sweetheart, the cheapest cake we have is 20. The words hit harder than they should have. The girl swallowed, her voice soft but desperate. It's my mom's birthday today. No one behind her in line moved. No one spoke. Have you ever wanted something so simple, yet felt like the world was too expensive for your love? She hasn't had a birthday cake in years, the girl added, her eyes glistening now. I told her this time I would get one. I promised. The cashier sighed, already reaching to push the money back toward her. You can buy a cupcake, maybe. The girl shook her head quickly. No, she deserves a real cake. Her voice broke on the last word. For a moment, the entire shop felt uncomfortably quiet. People heard her. They just didn't step forward. Then the door opened. A man walked in, sharp suit, calm face, the kind of presence that made the room shift without anyone knowing why. He paused just inside the entrance, rain still clinging to his coat, his eyes scanning the bakery, until they stopped on the little girl at the counter. He didn't speak at first. He just watched the way she pushed the $5 forward again, watched the way her shoulders tried to stay strong, even as they trembled. Please, she whispered, isn't there anything I can get for this? The cashier shook her head. No. The girl's fingers slowly closed around the money. And in that small, heartbreaking moment, the man took a step forward. Wait, he said quietly. The entire room shifted. The little girl turned, and for the first time that day, hope flickered in her eyes. The word hung in the air longer than it should have. Wait. The little girl turned slowly, her small hand still clutching the $5 like it was the last thing she had in the world. Her eyes were red, but there was something else in them now, something fragile, something that could disappear if the next moment went wrong. Hope. The man stepped closer. Up close, he didn't look cold the way people expected rich men to look. He looked tired, like someone who had everything except the one thing that mattered. He glanced at the money in her hand, then at the cakes behind the glass. What kind of cake does your mom like? He asked gently. The girl hesitated, unsure if this was real. She likes chocolate, she said softly. With those little flowers on top. Pink ones. The man nodded slowly, as if committing every word to memory. And why only $5? He asked. The question wasn't judgmental, it was careful. The girl looked down. It's all I saved, she said. I skipped lunch at school, and I didn't buy anything for 2 weeks. Her voice shook slightly. I wanted it to be enough. Have you ever given everything you had, and still felt like it wasn't enough? The man's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. Where's your mom? He asked. She's at home, the girl said. She's sick. She doesn't know I came here. A small pause. I wanted to surprise her. The bakery felt heavier now. The kind of silence that makes people look away because they don't know how to face it. The man reached into his coat. The cashier straightened instantly, her tone suddenly different. Sir, we have premium cakes as well. He raised a hand slightly. Not rude, just enough to stop everything. Then he turned back to the girl. What's your name? He asked. Lily, she said. He smiled, faintly. Lily, that's a strong name. She didn't smile back. Not yet. Listen to me, he said quietly, crouching down so he was at her level. Your $5, he gently pushed her hand closed around it, is not small. She blinked. But today, he continued, I'd like to help you make your promise bigger. The girl stared at him, confused. I don't understand. He stood up and looked at the cashier. One chocolate cake, he said calmly. The best one you have. The cashier nodded quickly, already moving. And add the pink flowers, he added. Lily's breath caught. But, I can't pay you back, she said quickly, panic slipping into her voice. I don't have more money. The man looked at her again. Something in his eyes softened in a way no one in that room expected. I'm not asking you to, he said. Then why are you helping me? She asked. That question stopped him, not because he didn't have an answer. Because the answer was heavier than the moment. Have you ever helped someone, and realized you were the one who needed saving? He looked away for a second, then back at her. Because someone once did the same for me, he said quietly. It wasn't the full truth. But it was enough. The cake was placed on the counter. Beautiful. Perfect. More than Lily had imagined. She stared at it like it might disappear. Go on, the man said gently. It's yours. Her hands trembled as she reached for the box. Thank you, she whispered. But she didn't leave. Not immediately. Instead, she looked up at him again. Do you want to come? She asked hesitantly. To my mom's birthday. The question surprised him. The entire room, actually. He blinked once. No one's ever asked me that before, he admitted. Then you should come, Lily said simply. You helped me. He hesitated. Meetings, calls, responsibilities, a life that never stopped. And yet, none of it suddenly felt important. Okay, he said. Lily smiled. A real one this time. And something inside him shifted. The apartment was small, dimly lit, but clean in the way that showed effort, not comfort. Lily pushed the door open carefully, holding the cake like it was the most important thing in the world. Mom, she called softly. A weak voice answered from the other room. Lily, where did you go? Close your eyes, Lily said quickly. The man stood quietly near the door, unsure if he belonged in this moment. But he stayed. A few seconds later, Lily led her mother out. Tired, pale, but smiling the moment she saw her daughter. Okay, open, Lily said. Her mother opened her eyes. And froze. The cake, the candles, the effort, the love. Tears filled her eyes instantly. Lily, she whispered. How did you? I promised, Lily said simply. Then she pointed toward the man. He helped me. The mother looked at him, confused, then grateful. Thank you, she said, her voice breaking. He nodded once, but something felt wrong. Not with the moment, with something deeper. His eyes moved around the apartment, slowly. Then stopped. On a photo frame, old, slightly worn, a picture of a woman standing beside a man, years younger. And a child, a little boy. The man's breath caught. No, he whispered. He stepped closer. His hands trembled slightly as he picked up the frame. The mother noticed. Her expression changed. What is it? She asked carefully. He turned the frame toward her. Where did you get this? He asked, his voice unsteady. Her eyes widened. That's my brother, she said slowly. And his son. We lost contact years ago. The room went still, completely still. The man's voice dropped to a whisper. That boy, he swallowed hard, was me. Lily looked between them, confused. What? The mother stepped forward, shock flooding her face. That's impossible. I grew up in foster care after that, he said. I searched for family for years, but I never found anything. Her hands began to shake. Ethan, she whispered. His eyes filled for the first time. Yes, the silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full, full of years lost, full of pain, full of something that had just been found again. Lily looked up at him slowly. Your family, she asked. He looked at her, really looked at her, and nodded. Yes, she smiled softly, then hugged him, without hesitation, without doubt, and in that moment, a lonely CEO who had everything, finally found something he didn't even know he was still searching for. Because sometimes, a $5 promise leads you back to where you truly